So my name is Sarah. I've been Muslim now for 7 years this year, alhamdulillah. So basically I grew up with my mum and 2 young brothers. I was just living life like normal teenager. I was doing the whole drinking and the club, things like that. Because I was not getting anything from that, I just felt empty inside. And that is when I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is not me. My family had kind of split. I had a couple of Muslim friends. They didn't teach me about Islam. I didn't ask them about Islam. But what I saw with my eyes, it was the whole community, the family unit that really attracted me. Some people may say that you need to learn about Islam before you take that step. But for me, I felt if I die tomorrow, I want to die as a Muslim. Okay, so my name is Sarah. I've been Muslim now for 7 years this year, alhamdulillah. And I'm from a small town called Blackburn in Lancashire. So basically I grew up with my mum and 2 young brothers. I was just living life like any other normal teenager would be, I guess. School, friends, I was doing the whole drinking and the clubs, things like that. At times was fun, but it just came to a point where felt like it was soul destroying, and it was destroying my soul. But I grew up, I was happy with my family, but it was a bit of a broken home. Life wasn't easy growing up. I spent my weekends, like you say, drinking, clubbing, boyfriends, things like that, things that seem appealing to a lot of teenage girls and boys, I guess. But the next day, or the days after, or after the days after the night before, I just felt very depressed. And like I say, I just felt crushed and emotional, sometimes suicidal, just because I was not getting anything from that. It was just, I just felt empty inside. It wasn't giving me anything satisfactory. There was nothing from it. I just felt my soul was empty. There was nothing there. I had a couple of Muslim friends, and what I saw with my eyes, they didn't teach me about Islam. I didn't ask them about Islam. But what I saw with my eyes, it was the whole community and the family unit that really attracted me. And I guess I'd always been intrigued about religion. I studied religion for my GCSE at school, and what stood out to me most then was Islam, just because of how simple it was. But I never took it, I never acted upon anything. So I was just searching. I actually went on a girls' holiday. There was 4 of us that went on holiday. It was the worst time of my life. This was obviously before I became Muslim. So I went on a girls' holiday to Malia in Greece. What would a lot of people now go to? It's like a party holiday for the youngsters. We went for a week. I stayed for 3 days, flew home. I absolutely hated it. And that is when I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is not me. There's got to be more to life than this. And I knew this was in the August, and in the September I was about to start university. I was doing a degree in religion. At this point in my life as well, I wasn't living at home. My family had kind of split. My mum had got into debt. So my mum was staying with a friend, my brothers were staying with my cousin, and I was living like 30, 40 miles away with my grandparents. So I was on my own. I had no friends around. And I guess this was a real time for reflection for me. I didn't have nothing around me, none of my comforts. It was just me, myself, and I. I was majoring in Islamic studies just because I was more interested in that. And I think a lot of it was, well, to be honest, was because there was a lot of stuff in the media about Islam. I was just more intrigued about it. So I thought I wanted to learn more about Islam than the other religions, because I knew that all the other religions would be covered within my actual degree, but I wanted to learn more specifically about Islam. And learning about Islam, it was literally only 2 weeks in, So I would literally just learn the very, very basics of Islam. And I thought, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. And I decided to take my Shahada. Some people may say that you need to learn about Islam before you take that step. But for me, I felt if I die tomorrow, I want to die as a Muslim. So I took that step. And when I took my Shahada, subhanallah, the weight that was just taken off my shoulders, I can't even describe it. So I took that step and I just thought I would learn more after I'd taken my Shahada. So yeah, that was it really. So I started my university life as a new Muslim, alhamdulillah. I guess it was just the actual Shahada in itself, the oneness of Allah. Like learning about the Christianity and all the other different religions was just very confusing to me. So I guess it was just the oneness of Allah that really stuck out to me. And again, it's just a community thing. I guess that my tutor as well, who was teaching, just his manners and his etiquettes and the way he was, it was like he was a living Islam for me. I was just mesmerised by my teacher. Just the way he was generally, the way he came across as a human being. I just thought he is Islam, and I was just blown away by that. I went to the Multi-Faith Centre straight from my Islamic lecture. I thought I've got to do it now, so I went to the Multi-Faith Centre, which I'd only seen just randomly, just walking past. It was across from the library. So I walked in and there was a couple of sisters there, and they said, "Can we help you?" And I just said, "I think I want to become a Muslim." And then that's it. They sat me down and they told me about the conditions and what Islam meant, becoming a Muslim, and the Shahada. They went through the Shahada and everything with me, and I agreed. I said, yes, this is what I believe. So they called an imam and sat down with me, and there I took my Shahada.
The work of supporting new Muslims continues year-round, and you can be part of it. Over the past 5 years, IRA has been blessed at being able to introduce Islam to more than 400,000 people. These individuals need our constant support as they navigate their new faith. Your contribution of £50 to support one new Muslim gives them essential guidance and support. Click the link below, share the video, and let's go back to that interview, shall we?
I was living with my grandparents at the time, so I'd gone back to their house. I did the ghusl, so I had a shower like I was told to, and I was just praying, thanking Allah. I was crying. Like I say, I just felt like this big weight had been lifted off my shoulder, like I knew that I'd done the right thing. So obviously I didn't tell my gran. I rushed into wearing the hijab a little bit. Maybe I thought that I had to quickly wear the hijab now I'm a Muslim. So after a few weeks, she kind of thought, what's going on here? But also because sometimes I used to sit down with my gran on a weekend and have a little tipple with her, alcohol, and I stopped doing that. So she must have thought something's not quite right here. And then obviously the scarf came on. So she was actually the first person that I told. This was about a month into becoming Muslim, and she was, mashallah, she was really cool with it. She didn't have no problem at all. And she actually started talking about my wedding, which was strange. I'd only just become Muslim and she was getting excited about, I think she thought about this big Asian, fancy, colourful wedding that she sees on TV, and she was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to come to your wedding. But that was like the last thing on my mind. So yeah, and I told my mum not long after that. Alhamdulillah, she was absolutely fine with it as well. My mum said she kind of expected it from a young age. So alhamdulillah, the closest to me was quite accepting, which I'm very grateful for. After those first few weeks of being on a high, the laws came. The first few days, few weeks, you have this massive support from sisters that are hugging you and saying we'll be there for you and all of this. But then that dies out, and I was like I was just literally on my own. And a couple of friends, non-Muslim friends, was supportive. But I kind of just got back because I didn't have the support there, and my friends were still going out at the weekend. I'd join in, even though, so it was like for a good few months after that, it was like I'd just gone back to my old life. Even though I was Muslim by name now, because I didn't have the support, I was still sometimes, not as much as I used to, alhamdulillah, but sometimes I felt like I didn't have anybody. So just to go out on a Friday night with them just made me, I didn't feel lonely. Sometimes that's what it made me feel like. So yeah, there was a lot of downs, and it wasn't easy at all. And then what happened is I then moved back to my hometown after a few months. I'd moved back to my hometown. So there was a little bit more support. There was more Muslims in the area, and I guess I started to get them feelings back of depression, and there's a reason I took my Shahada, I need to get back on track. And then I met a lovely dear sister of mine who introduced me to the retreat. Sorry, gosh. The retreat changed my life. Subhanallah. God. Gosh, I didn't think I'd get this emotional. So when I met this sister and she told me about the retreat, she told me it had changed her life. You can never actually believe it until you experience it for yourself. And I travelled. It was about 3-4 hours possibly on the train down to the retreat. I didn't wear hijab, and this was 2 years now after I'd been a Muslim, after I'd taken my Shahada. And I didn't wear the hijab. And sorry. So I came to the retreat, and instantly the sisterhood, the support, and just to let you know, just from day one, from the welcome, checking into the hotel room, and just everything was set out. There was the little du'as, and it felt very welcome immediately. And then the lectures began with Abdurrahim Green. Learning like you've never learned before. Normally I would find my information from the internet, YouTube, books, but you could never learn or experience like you do at the retreat. The purpose of life, it just took me back to why I took my Shahada. This is my being, this is my purpose in life. And it just changed my life. I met sisters at the retreat who, this was 4 or 5 years ago now, who I'm still very good friends with. I met sisters and friends for life at the retreat who I'm in touch with on a daily basis. I have the support. When I came back from the first retreat, I started wearing my hijab, I started praying, because that is what you do at the retreat. You live in that Islamic environment, even if it's just for 3 days. You're praying together, you're eating together, you're building the sisterhood, you're learning. I didn't want to leave, I didn't want to go home. So yeah, it was amazing. That changed my life. In fact, before that, what happened before I went on the retreat, because I'd done 2 years at uni and it's like my religion took a back step because I was focusing on my uni work. So what I'd done is I'd prayed my istikhara. I decided to take a year out of uni to focus on my deen. That's when I went on the retreat, all of that happened. And then things started changing as I got home. I was praying, I was wearing hijab, I was more God conscious. It was just a reminder of no matter what happens at home, Allah is always there with you. After everything that had been happened, my husband, now husband, it was literally 2 weeks after the retreat, I got a proposal. Obviously, I had nowhere to live at this point. I was staying in a hotel. I prayed to Allah, like, please just allow me to be with a family that accepts me for who I am, be with a husband who can support me, somewhere safe where I can practice my deen. And then the day after that, subhanallah, that's when the proposal came. That's it, I've never looked back.